Hi there! Today I'm going to show you how to knit this really fun heel. Not only does it look really pretty, but it's also really easy to knit. This is called the increase heel. The nice thing about this is it's knitted in rounds, so the increase happens every other round, creating this gusset right here, and there are no taking up of stitches required. If this is something that you've been worried about how to pick up stitches, then this might be just the heel for you, as there's none of that required. It's all increases and decreases in rounds. This is a great fit for people with a high instep and a medium wide heel, and it's gonna make also this really beautiful effect. So keep on watching for all the details of this. I have knitted this one with a REGIA Premium Cashmere blend yarn, which is really nice and soft and really nice to knit with and beautiful to wear. All of these supplies that I'm using are available in the Mimifabrics Shop at mimifabrics.ca. So now let's dive right into it. For my sock, I've cast on 60 stitches. I'm knitting a size 38 European, and I'm knitting on 4 double pointed needles. This heel can also be done with other needles like the magic loop or flexi tip needles. But for the purposes of this video on my double pointeds, I will be referring to the needles in the following order. This is the beginning of my round, which makes this needle 1, needle 2, needle 3, and needle 4. The heel is knitted over the needles 1 and 4. For the increase heel, you're also going to need 2 stitch markers. The increases are worked every other round. In the first round, we're going to knit all the way to the last stitch of needle 1. And we'll put our marker right here, so that is 15 stitches, stitch marker, and then we're going to make a stitch out of the yarn connecting between the next 2 stitches. So it's this one right here. So we're going to knit an increase out of the yarn that connects between these 2 stitches, and we want a left-leaning increase. For that, we're going to insert the needle, let me see just to make sure that this is focused, from the front to the back, like this, so the yarn crosses over from left to right to the back, and then we're going to knit it through the back loop. There you go. Our first increase is done. Now we're going to knit all stitches in the established pattern. In my case, it's all stockinette stitch. If you're knitting a pattern at the top of your sock, the next 30 stitches in my case would be in a pattern, but I have all stockinette stitch, so I will knit these stitches . So now I've arrived at the intersection between needle 3 and 4. So this time we're going to do a right leaning increase with this thread. To achieve that, I'm going to put my 4th needle, in this case, in this yarn, and I can actually use this to help it, but you're going from behind and lifting this up. So now that thread is crossing over from the left front to the right back. And this time we're going to knit it, to knit as if to knit. So we're going to insert from the left to the right. We're going to knit this stitch to do our right leaning increase. And we're going to set a stitch marker. And I'm going to knit the remaining 15 stitches to the end of my first round. So after you finish the first round, you should have 2 stitch markers on needles 1 and 4 with your 15 stitches that you had before, plus your increased stitch at the beginning of each needle here. The next round is a non-increase round, so we get to knit all of the stitches without increasing, but the stitches that we did increase in the last round, we're going to purl instead of knitting them. Our second round is done. Now let's continue. So our round 3 is an increase round. For the increase, we're going to knit our first 15 stitches in this case, move the stitch marker, work a left leaning increase, and then knit the rest of the stitches on the needle. For the left leaning increase, we're gonna go in with our needle from front to back so that the thread between the stitches is going from the right front to the left back, and then we knit it through the back loop. And we knit the last stitch. Now we knit all stitches of needle 2 and 3. Now on needle 4, we're going to knit our stitches up to the stitch marker. We're going to pick up the yarn between the next 2 stitches and put it like this. Sorry, other way around, so that it crosses over from the left front to the right back, so we can get our right leaning increase, and then we knit this stitch, move the stitch marker, and knit all the stitches to the end of the round. And now we are in round 4, which is a non-increase round. So you're going to knit all the stitches except for your increases, which are after the stitch marker on needle 1 and before the stitch marker needle 4. Those you purl. Now you keep on increasing in this fashion until you have the amount of stitches after your stitch marker for your gusset that your reference table tells you. And the reference table, if you don't have it, I have it linked in this video in the comments, in the description. In my case, for the size 38, I need to have 14 stitches after my stitch markers, 14 increases. So you'll work the 14 or however many you need to do for your shoe size. Now I've finished knitting all my gusset increases, and I've finished with a non-increase row. After this, my sock looks like this, and I get this beautiful pattern here in my gusset. Now we're going to go to the next step. Now we're going to have to decrease all of these stitches that we've just added on. For this, we're going to work over needles 1 and 4, and we're not going to be knitting the stitches on needles 2 and 3. We're going to start this decrease by knitting the first stitch on needle 1, and then working a decrease by slipping one as if to knit, knitting a stitch, and pulling the slipped stitch over. And then we knit one more stitch. And then we turn our work. Then we're going to slip this first stitch as if to purl. We're gonna purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to purl the next 2 stitches together. And then purl 1 more stitch. Turn your work around. Now we're going to slip the first stitch as if to purl again. We're going to knit all the way until the slipped stitch of the previous round. Which is easily visible because now we will always have this gap, which will help us see where we need to work our decrease. Now we're going to slip this one as if to knit, knit the next stitch, pull this one over, and knit 1 more stitch. Turn around. 1 more time. We slip the first stitch as if to purl. Then purl all the stitches to the slip stitch of the previous row. And again, we can easily see that because there is a gap that gets formed by that. So now this one and the next one we will purl together, knit 1 more stitch, purl 1 more stitch, turn around. Now we're going to continue in this fashion until we have the same amount of stitches on our needles that we started with, which in my case was 15 stitches on each needle. After I've worked this last decrease here on needle 1, I'm not going to turn around anymore because there's no extra stitch to knit that belongs to this side panel. So we're now going to have 15 stitches on needle 1, 2, and 3 and 16 stitches on needle 4. Once we get to needle 4, so we're going to start continuing in rounds, and in the first round on needle 4 we're going to knit the first 2 stitches together. Now here at the beginning of needle 4, I'm going to knit these 2 together. Now my heel shaping is finished and I can continue in my established pattern. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you really enjoyed this and found this helpful. Do press the like button if you like this video, and leave me a comment with how you found this to knit, and don't forget to watch our other fantastic heel knitting videos in our YouTube channel. Do subscribe to our channel if you want to see more of these videos from us, and thank you so much.